We have an exciting event planned for all of you today. In a few minutes, we're going to show you our brand new social commerce technology platform. It's a whole new version of Graphite that we'll walk you through. We've been working on it for a while, so we're really excited to show it to you. But first, I thought I'd give you a little bit of context about what we're talking about today. So, Acreage is a software company, and brands and retailers use our technology to create social shopping experiences primarily on their website for their customers today. Our mission is to reshape e-commerce around people kind of rather than products. We think that shopping experiences can be far more engaging and far better if they're had with friends. And so we've been very, very focused on translating that vision into something tangible and something scalable. And we think that social commerce scale begins and ends with engagement, right? It begins with the people. So the more ways and the easier ways we can create engagement and easy engaging experiences for people to connect will drive far more media, more stories into Facebook and other social networks, and will drive far more insight into the intentions of what those customers are really after. And there's been a lot of excitement and a lot of focus on social graph mining and data mining of late, and big data is a massive buzzword right now. And we feel very strongly that actually that is probably where 80% of the value will be in the longer term for social commerce. But the only way you get data is if users give it to you. So in this new space in social commerce, users are actually in control. So what we need to be able to do is give people more reasons to engage and connect to these social commerce applications. And in so doing, we'll gather a lot more data insight into what their intentions are. So for us, we've been focused mostly on creating more engaging solutions. And last April, we launched the very first version of Graphite. It was in April 2012. And it was the first social commerce platform that retailers and brands could use to easily create social shopping experiences on their websites and drive a lot of engagement. From a user point of view, what it did is it gave you a really easy way to express how you feel about products that you love across brands. So now it's much easier for me to say that I'm playing a guitar that I bought from a musician's friend, or that I want a pair of shoes from Nine West, et cetera, et cetera. So before we show you the new stuff, why don't I kind of take you through a little bit of the last 6 months and look at the results. So we launched Graphite in April with about a dozen major brands, and then we rolled a couple more in over the last 6 months. From an engagement point of view, Graphite's driven a pretty big number of stories. So over the last 6 months, it's driven about 177 stories. So those are users telling their friends on Facebook that they love a product from Blue Nile, or that they have to have a pair of boots from Nine West. Those stories have generated a lot of brand reach. So they've generated a lot of earned media within Facebook. Over the last 6 months, we've generated over 26 million impressions on Facebook. From those impressions and all that activity of people telling their friends that they love particular products, we've generated a lot of data insight into users. So the users of the applications and their friends have now totaled about 36.5 million social profiles that are in the database. Those people have liked in total about 3.5 billion things. That data is now available to the brands and the retailers that we work with to do a better job of kind of targeting them with offers and special incentives. We've also driven a lot of engagement from a referral traffic point of view. So if you look at it from a direct response lens or through a direct response lens, on average, we've added about a 26% increase in traffic from Facebook. Now, if that was all just Amazon.com, that would be $480 million in lift in revenue for Amazon.com. Yes, we're talking to you, Amazon.com. Please call me back. But seriously, we're off to a really good start with Graphite, and we're really proud of what the results have been so far, and the kind of value that our brands have seen. Now, the reality is, no matter what we do, and really what anyone does, you're probably not going to get more than 5% or so of your traffic to share. Most of the traffic that visit your site are a lot like, a lot of us that are on the phone. They're kind of lurkers. They're like me. They'll look at other things people are sharing, and they'll look at posts and updates from friends, but they won't necessarily engage and share all that much themselves. So what do we do about the other 95%? Well, we know the answer isn't to ignore them, right? There's all kinds of, we have the shy, the lurkers, the voyeurs. There's this whole group of somewhat antisocial people that are out there, and those users are also very valuable, so we shouldn't be ignoring them. So this has been a really big challenge, and we're addressing it in this next release that I'll talk about in 1 minute. The other challenge that we've seen brands have is this roller coaster concept. So we've seen people kind of riding the social marketing campaign roller coaster. So they've gone out and they've launched a campaign. Maybe they've even built a Facebook app for it. They ran it. They got great reach and buzz and some traffic, but then they turned it off and they went on to the next campaign. And while we've been running on the e-commerce site and generating lots of insight into users and learning more about what people want, these campaigns that have been kind of running alongside us haven't been generating that same kind of insight. So what needs to happen is we need to move to an approach where every campaign generates insight and every campaign kind of builds on each other from a known customer point of view. So we're really excited to launch Graphite2 today, and we think that it'll drive a massive increase in engagement. And there's kind of two dimensions to this engagement that we're focused on. The first one is what we just mentioned, which is kind of bringing social shopping to the other 95%, or like I like to say, to the antisocial. So supporting not only the 5%, but the other 95% of users that maybe aren't comfortable sharing but would actually access social experiences. The second dimension to this is the purchasing funnel. So what we're doing in the second dimension is moving kind of up and down the funnel. So instead of focusing just on e-commerce, which is where we focused to date, so putting social experiences on the e-commerce website, we're now supporting marketing campaigns. So the entire experience from the campaign of awareness building and brand building all the way down to checkout and post-checkout can now be integrated socially with Graphite2. So we're really excited about this. It's the first social commerce platform that was built to support all customers across the entire funnel, and it's a huge step up from our first release of Graphite last April. So let me show you a few of the features now that will drive a huge step change in engagement. The first one is the one that I think I'm most excited about, which is focus on curation and discovery. So what brands can do now with Graphite is they can create a Pinterest-like shopping experience on their own website. Customer's looking at this dress, she can add it to a style board, give it a name, and then share it. And when she does that, it shares to Facebook. And this is Amanda. Amanda's fall favorites collection, or her fall favorites board, has been shared to Facebook. It's been posted to her timeline. So her friends will see that news in their ticker and then in their news feed. But the content that Amanda generated is also available on the website for other visitors to see. So you can see the things she's interested in, the board she's created, discover new ideas, but you can also follow the user and be followed by other users. And what ends up happening is you create this really fun, visual, again, Pinterest-like shopping experience right on the brand's own website. And it lets customers shop not just by kind of product categories, but actually by people. What's, I think, the most exciting bit here is the discovery side of this. So even if customers are not in that 5% bucket, if they're not the customers that are willing to create a board or to share content, they will be able to use that data, that content that the other users generate. So 5% of the users will generate content that 95% or 100% of the visitors can actually use. And the really exciting place where this shows up is on the product page. So right on, and so it's just kind of natural to the shopping experience. So when you're looking at this dress, for example, on the bottom of the product detail page, I'll be recommended other collections or other boards of things that people created. And these are not put here with math. These are actually user-generated, and this content's been generated with taste. So I can discover other things that that dress goes with, whether it's an outfit or just a collection of things that kind of go with that item. What that will drive is a massive lift in total sales on the site, because now not just the 5% of the traffic are engaging socially. Actually, all of the traffic can engage, and those that do look at these social recommendations will increase their average order size, possibly by 20 to 30%. They're going to convert at a much higher rate. In total online sales, we think will go up, and it's a massive amount, 10 to 20% in incremental sales because of all this user-generated content now being available. The next area is social expression. So this is something we started with Graphite. So with version 1 of Graphite in April, you could go to Tom's, for example, and say that you want, love, or own those pair of shoes. But now we're taking it further, and now you can support campaigns. So if you're running a marketing campaign like One Day Without Shoes, your users can support it. Or if you're running a T-shirt contest where users generate or design their own T-shirts and then other users vote on those, you can now vote on them like on American Apparel's website. We've also extended expressions beyond campaigns to other content and media as well. So with Juicy Couture, for example, you can tell your friends you're reading a blog post on their fashion blog, or you're watching, another example might be watching a video or how-to video on another website, on a brand's e-commerce site. So we're expanding into other areas, so not just product content and other marketing campaigns, but also other media and content. We're also moving further down the funnel. So now on the checkout page, after I bought this Peaches dress from Nasty Gal, now you can tell your friends you bought it, and you can say, in this case, I can't wait to wear my new Peaches dress. The other thing that we're doing is we're adding in ratings. So now users can create social ratings and see the ratings of other users. This is different than traditional ratings in that when you create a rating, it gets posted to Facebook. So in this case, Lindsay rated the sequin dress 4 stars on this website. And we think this is going to be interesting because there's sort of an industry-wide fraud problem right now in that there are kind of fake users creating all kinds of reviews, and mostly positive reviews, on websites. Gartner thinks that review fraud will reach 10 to 15% by next year, by the end of 2014. So we think that this might help address that problem a little bit, because the users that are creating these reviews are actually real Facebook users, or at least they have to have real Facebook accounts with real friends. We're also getting into rewards. So, if there's still a lot of value in moving your power users from 4% of your visitors to 5%, and a lot of the way you can get that leverage is by rewarding them and giving those special users, or those experts, or those real kind of power advocates points and status and maybe credit towards other purchases or discounts, whatever kind of reward you'd like to provide, we can now support with Graphite as well. And then one of the last pieces is login. There's been a lot of talk about login lately. Some of our customers have asked us to support login as well, and partially because they didn't want to have multiple different Facebook authentications for users. So if I want to tell my friends I love a product, I have to authenticate, and then would I have to authenticate again with login if I couldn't remember my password? So now we're integrating all that into one kind of seamless social shopping experience for customers. And I think that there's value in supporting that lowest common kind of use case, which is, hey, I forgot my password for your brand's website. I'd like to use my Facebook account to log in. But really outside of that, I think the bigger value for most brands is to create sort of a locked space or an exclusive area of the site that you have to log into to access. Maybe it's to access your rewards points, for example. But I think realistically, we think that for most brands, login alone just isn't all that interesting, because most brands don't require you to log in to shop, obviously. So I think that's why you've seen this take off with kind of membership-only brands or publishers where you've got to have an account to read the content. But there are a couple of cases where this does become very valuable, so we're now supporting that as well with Graphite. And then the last piece is to give the users more control. So now that we've got a more advanced sharing and privacy settings that are controlled on the brand's website. So if the user is accessing your site and sharing with their friends, now they have more control over what's shared in their own privacy. So, if we summarize all this, traditionally, e-commerce has been focused on this. It's been the classic purchase funnel. People become aware of the brand or product, they come to the website and they're considering it, and then maybe they buy something. If they like it, they tell their friends, and they drive more friends into the funnel. What we're doing now with Graphite2 is weaving social into the entire purchase funnel, all the way from the top, which are the marketing campaigns and awareness-focused buzz campaigns, all the way down to actual checkout. And so we're weaving advocacy into the entire funnel, top to bottom, with social expressions and curation and recommendations, ratings, rewards, and login. So we think that this is a much better approach to implementing social commerce, is to have kind of one platform that you can integrate to. So from a brand point of view, you've got one place to go to get social data and integrate. And from a user's point of view, it's much better as well, because I've got one Facebook app, at least that's what it looks like to a user, one app for, for example, Babies R Us that I can access wherever I am, whether it's a campaign they're running or it's just their normal day-to-day website. So to summarize, we're really excited to launch Graphite2 today. We think that it'll be a massive change in engagement. It'll drive, and from that engagement, we'll get quite a bit lift and earned media and stories created, and that will generate loads of data insight that brands will use to do a better job of putting offers in front of customers that are relevant. So we're really excited about it, and we're happy to show it to you today. Next up, I have the pleasure of introducing you to a very visionary e-commerce executive. His name is David Kost, and David is the VP of e-commerce for Deb Shops and marketing for Deb Shops, and he's been a real close partner of ours since we launched Graphite in April, so for the last 6 months. And Deb Shops is the first brand that's been live on our new Graphite platform, and they've been beta testing the Curation Discovery functionality for the last couple of weeks. So it's really early. You get to kind of get an early preview into how well things are going, and he's just kind of wrapping up beta testing now. But he's offered graciously to us to share some of the insights that he's had so far and how this new kind of technology is performed. So I'll hand it over to David. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Wade. Just to give you a little background on who Deb Shops is, we're in the fast fashion space, junior and junior plus size females between the ages of 13 and 24. We operate 310 stores throughout the United States, as well as online at debshops.com. About 6 months ago, when we launched with 8th Bridge, we started out with social expressions. The want it, I'm wearing, ask a friend. We're now extending that into more social commerce, and that's kind of manifested itself in what we call style boards. The point of the style boards is to get people who don't actively share to engage with content that others create. It gives a strong way of kind of spreading word of mouth. So as somebody puts together a board of items that they like, as we walk through this, the fact that people can see it on every product detail page as well as on their Facebook page, it creates lots of opportunities for them to interact with our products and with the brand, as well as their friends. So we provide a couple ways for people to get to the style boards. From the home page of the website, and at the top of all of our pages, there's a link to the style boards. If you click on one of those links, you come into a page like this. It has, your Facebook sign-on. It shows boards that you've put together. It also shows people who you've chosen to follow or people that the application suggests that you should follow. Here's an example of a board somebody put together of shoes that they liked. Again, just kind of walking you through different parts of this page. You can see the number of boards that they put together, the number of people that are following Amanda. And you can also see the number of people that she's following. This now starts kind of the gamification process, because as people put boards together, they want to see, who gets more followers, who's looking at their boards more often. I can tell you within our office, as our buyers have started to put together boards, there's somewhat of a competition to see who can get more followers than another. Because of Facebook, you also get to see the pictures of who's following you, which again just adds to that whole interactivity. So here's an example of our product detail page. You can see, as we zoom in here, this is an example of a style board that someone put together that includes this dress that's on the page. when someone clicks on that, they go to a page that somebody's put together that has other dresses that they've liked in addition to that one. It could be accessories. It can be other pieces. We really see this as something even, it goes far beyond what a standard wish list can do. The style boards can serve as an outfit planner, a virtual closet, and everything is shared through social media and through Facebook. So while they interact with the content on our .com, they're also seeing that same content on their Facebook page. We think these social recommendations are so much more powerful than any of the algorithmic recommendations that exist today. I mean, we've done lots of experimenting with all of the major players, and we tend to see silly results. Some percentage of the time, they're recommending, certain things on a page that just don't belong there. With style boards and with curation, we're only seeing items that are related to what the person's looking at on that page. It's put together by another human. So as you learn to like somebody's style and you want to see other things that they put together, this gives you a way that it's just in front of you every time that you're on a product detail page. It's just natural. So we launched style boards just about a week ago, and these are just some of our initial results. So we've had almost 2,000 products added to over 450 boards. We've seen, a huge lift in user growth and a lift in sharing. What we're really excited about is where this goes next. So we are in the process of developing an app to be used in store. We want to take the same social product recommendations that you have online and extend that into the offline world. So when somebody's shopping in one of our brick-and-mortar stores, they can go, scan a barcode on any product in the store. They'll be able to add that item to a board that they've already made. They'll be able to create a board from the store. They'll also be able to view other boards that people put together that include that item. So it brings the social shopping experience, online back into the physical world. We think that's really exciting. In addition, there's other kind of marketing campaigns and other contests that we're going to put together, all kind of driven and based on curating the style board technology. So, again, in the initial week, we are incredibly excited about it. The buzz here within our office in terms of people just kind of naturally clamoring and using it without any, push on our parts has been incredibly encouraging. So we are really excited about the future potential of this.
Thank you, David. That was great. I think we're opening up for questions now. So we'll do a couple minutes of Q&A and then we'll wrap up. So, Libby.
Great, thanks. I want to thank, first of all, David and Wade, both of you guys, for taking the time and sharing today. It's very exciting news, and we definitely have a flurry of questions with just a little bit of time left to answer. So let's jump in with those right away. First, for Wade, what technology are you using for recommendations?
Good question. So the technology is actually Acebridge developed. So what we're not doing is we haven't built a product recommendation engine. We'll integrate to other product recommendations that are on the market if brands are interested in that. So we can make, all the common product recommendation engines much smarter by giving them access to social graph data. But what the social recommendations do is it just simply looks at, for example, the most popular products that other users are most popular boards and collections that other users have created that have that product within it. We apply a little bit of a filter on merchandising and pricing and some other kind of variables to that. But it's primarily a user-generated and kind of user-driven recommendation that gets displayed.
Great, thank you. And then also, you mentioned the over 177,000 shared stories. What is the conversion to sale from those stories that are published?
I would say in general, the conversion rate's been about the same as a typical website conversion rate on traffic. I don't know if David wants to weigh in on any deb shops and things of that, but what we've seen across the clients where we've done the testing is it's usually in that 2 to 2.5% kind of average range.
I mean, I could speak a little bit to kind of our approach to social media overall. We have a kind of a tagline that we use around here. We say dwell time equals sell time. So the more we can get a customer to hang out and interact and engage with the brand, the more likely they are to make a purchase from us, when they're in the marketplace to do that. And what we see with the style boards are, just a huge ramp up in that engagement and that interactivity. Far beyond what we've seen, prior to that. The fact that when you're on a product detail page, you're seeing other boards that include that item and include other things with it, and the fact that those things are getting pushed out to your Facebook page, it just really increases those touch points, with customers to get them to come back and interact and take a look at the products that we're offering.
Great, thanks, David. Another question, which I think you both can answer, we'll start with Wade. What are the advantages of having curation on your own site versus just using Pinterest?
First of all, I wouldn't say you have to pick creating curation functionality on the website or Pinterest. Most brands are actually doing both with us.
I'd say from our standpoint, the main difference is I can't put a Pinterest board on my product detail page that's tied into what the person's looking at the time. Curation gives us the ability to create, a hyper-specialized, Pinterest-like application, that's restricted just to, our set of products, with something that we can integrate with other products to make it a seamless experience.
Great, thanks. So I think we've, like I was saying earlier, most of our brands don't decide should they run Pinterest or should they run on the website. What we've seen is most brands will do both, and the curation engagement on the site is usually 20 times higher than on Pinterest, meaning that you'll get 20 times as much content if you make it really easy for people that are already looking at your content to create additional content off of that versus kind of rely on them to go to your site and grab and bring it over to Pinterest. And then I think the other thing is that there's a lot of value in the recommendations, as David and I talked about. That's actually where most of the value is. If all that content is on someone else's site, then you don't get to leverage that content and optimize around it. So I think there are a number of other reasons too why you should probably do both. But I think those are the two really big ones.
Great, thank you. And then one final question. You talked a lot about data, but how do I get the data? And then how can I use the data? Wade, again, if you want to start out with that. And then David, you had some great examples about using the data as well.
So in Graphite, we have an API. It's called the Interest Graph API that structures the data that we collect. So if David loves a guitar and musician's friend, for example, we structure that data and then make it available programmatically to other existing marketing systems like email marketing, CRM systems, advertising product or applications, et cetera. And we make it really easy to kind of leverage that data and then monetize it. I think there's a lot of value in using the curated content as well in other places. And I think, David, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Well, being a week into this, we're still learning as we go along. But there are the kind of in terms of seeing trends as they're developing, being able to see what items are getting added to boards more often, what items get added to boards together more often. That kind of almost real-time product research is just something that we're just not seeing anyplace else.
Wonderful. Well, that's all the questions and time we have for today. I want to thank everyone again for attending today's Graphite product launch event. If you have any additional questions that did not get answered, please feel free to contact us at connect@8thbridge.com. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this will be available within the next day for viewing again. Thank you.